Hi everybody, good morning. I'm going to try a little bit of vlogging today, I think. So my plan originally was to take some video when we went to the pumpkin patch today, but we can't go to the pumpkin patch today because, can you hear the rain? It's raining. See, lots of rain. So instead of going to the pumpkin patch, we're kind of trapped inside, and I think I'm going to bake something because today is National Dessert Day. So I'm going to rummage through the pantry and see what ingredients I have and hopefully be baking something. And when it rains, this is what happens to the dish. So we have Dish Network for our TV, which I love 99% of the time. This is the time I don't love it because whenever it rains, just regular rain, it's not even storming, we get complete signal loss. This little box pops up and I can't watch anything except anything I've recorded. And right now I am missing the Scary Potter weekend because Chamber of Secrets is on and I can't watch it until it stops raining. Harry Potter is now back on, but it keeps going like in and out the connection. So I'm not counting on this being on for very long. Pre-baking, I need a little bit of coffee. So I'm going to use my Keurig, which I have commandeered from my mother and which my aunt found at Goodwill for like 15 bucks and it still works. Can you believe how lucky that was? So I'm using the Keurig and one of these reusable, it's like that reusable insert so you can put your own coffee in. You just like scoop it right in here. I like that a lot because it saves me from using so many pods. So this is the coffee that I'm using. It's fair trade, I don't know, organic, all that good stuff, decaf. And I like to use, well, I do put almond milk. I will put a little bit of plain almond milk in my coffee. And then I use the Sweet Cream Natural Bliss creamer because I don't need to put any extra sugar in if I just use this because it's sugary enough. And of course, I have to show you my cute mug because it's almost Halloween and I love black cats. So I'm using one of my black cat mugs. I was going to say, oh, it looked dirty in my mug for a minute there, but it's just a shadow. So this was from Crate and Barrel, I believe last year or the year before, but that would be is old. It's either like 1 or 2 Halloweens old. And I got it on sale after Halloween, so it was like 50% off or something. Yeah, Crate and Barrel. Much better. Alrighty, I've decided on the first thing I want to make today, and that is apple crisp. But I'm only going to make a small one. So normally you'd make this in a 9 by 13 dish, but I'm going to make it in just whatever this little, it doesn't say on the bottom, but it is one of my fancy La Crusade dishes, and it's black, and I thought that was perfect for Halloween. So I'm going to make it in this little size, so I need less ingredients, but I got everything out. I've got my apples and oatmeal and sugars and flour and salt and cinnamon, nutmeg, lemon, butter. So I'm going to get started. And by the way, this is an Ina Garden recipe that I have used for a really long time. And it's actually she has 2 recipes on like the Food Network website. There's an apple crisp recipe and then there's an apple pear crisp. And I go with the apple pear crisp recipe because in just the apple recipe, it forgets to add a little bit of flour to your fruit mixture, so that one always comes out soupier, and I'm afraid I'm going to forget to put the flour in if I use the recipe. So I use the apple and pear recipe and obviously just use the apples. I hope that's not too confusing. But that recipe also calls for peeling the apples before you use them, which I don't because I don't mind them with the peels on. And then it says that you can also, like, you should core them first, but obviously I don't. I mean, I just cut the 4 pieces around the apple and then toss the core. So that's what I think is easier. And can I be waving my knife around anymore? Oh my gosh, I'm dangerous. Now I'm adding a little bit of lemon zest. And again, I'm not following a full recipe, so this might actually be a little bit more apples than I need, but that's okay. I just have a really full little baking pan. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of zest. The full recipe calls for 1 teaspoon, but I'm just gonna kind of eyeball a little bit. A little bit of lemon juice. Some sugar. Flour. And again, you really do need to put, if I can get the flour out, you really do need to put the flour in. Otherwise it gets too soupy, and I have made this before where I've forgotten it and I had to learn that lesson the hard way. So don't forget to add a little bit of flour. Next is some ground cinnamon. It calls for a teaspoon of this, but again, I'm just gonna eyeball it because I don't want a full teaspoon. And then some nutmeg, and I'm gonna go even lighter on the nutmeg. Okay. Now we give this a good mix, and then we'll pour it into the baking dish. Let's see if I can fit all this in. I kind of think I can't. I might be using 2 baking dishes. Oh no, yeah, I'm way over. It seems like I estimate my apples the same way I estimate my pasta, and even though I'm making something for 2 people, I cook enough for like 4 or 5. I have that problem. So I'm just gonna put this in another little baking dish. Okay, well, I also have the same size pan, but in this light purple, so it's not very Halloweenish, but I don't know. Maybe purple and black could go together for Halloween. Apples in this one now. Okay, so I'll take a few out of the black dish and put them in here so it's a little more even. Now we make the topping, or the crisp part of this. So I'm going to do my best to estimate how much to use since I need a smaller amount. So I'm going to start with 1/2 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of lightly packed brown sugar, just a little sprinkle of salt, 1/2 cup of oatmeal. Even though the full recipe is for 1 cup, I feel like 1/2 is kind of a lot for the amount I'm making, but I love the crisp. This is like my favorite part of the whole thing is the crisp on top. So I really like that, and the oatmeal in there, so I'm putting in the extra oatmeal. Now I'm adding some butter, and the full recipe is for 2 sticks, so I really don't know where to start on this. That was not quite 1/4 cup. I'm gonna add a little more. Okay, so I'm going to start with this and see how it goes and mix it up with the paddle. And then I also add a little bit of water as I go. And I normally do that because I feel like it has a hard time sticking together. So adding just a little bit of water, drizzling in really slowly, kind of helps it combine a little better. So I'm going to do that. And in the end, this is what I want it to look like. That water really helped the flour incorporate because I was worried it would be too powdery. So that water really helps it all kind of congeal together. Now to scoop the topping onto the apples. And I'll probably make a mess doing this. So here they are right before they go in the oven with the crumble and everything on top. And they already smell good, believe it or not, just because the cinnamon and nutmeg and the butter, everything smells really good. So you put these in the oven, and I think 350, and they cook for about an hour. That's usually how long it takes me if I make a 9x13, but since these are smaller pans, it probably will take a little bit less. Well, while we wait for the apple crisp in the oven, I thought I would show you just a little bit of what I do for Halloween. So this is something that I do pretty much like seasonally or for every holiday. This is our cat's little food and water area, obviously, and they have this little black cat mat. You just can't see its face under there right now. But I like to hang every season, every holiday, I like to hang something different for them as like a little decoration. I know they don't, oh, and that horrible click and everything, that's the oven, it's super loud. I know the cats don't really care or notice probably, but in my mind I like to tell myself that they do. So this is what I got for them at Target this year. There's my shadow, hello. It's this little black cat happy Halloween sign. So I just hang it right there with the command hook, and I leave the command hook up all the time and then put whatever appropriate, fall themed or spring themed wreath or little sign or something. So that's what they get for Halloween. And carrying on the black cat theme into our powder room, I guess you'd call it. I have a little black cat hand towel that is just for decoration. I don't use it. It just, you know, stays there to look cute. And then on this wall by the light switch, I always keep up black cat decorations in here year round. But so this stays up year round, this Black Cat Society sign. This came from Home Goods. And then I change out the things up here to be Halloween themed for the black cats at Halloween. But when it's not Halloween, it's just other black cat stuff. So this is from Walmart. This is one of the things that stays up all year. This says Black Cat Crossing, and I don't know where that's from. Maybe Hobby Lobby a really long time ago. And then this Happy Halloween sign with the cat on top is from Michael's, and so is this bottle. So this is what it looks like for Halloween in here. And then, yeah, I'll just kind of change some of those things out except for that little candle holder to have other little like black cat things and another little picture that goes up there. So we love our black cats around here. I said the word food, and that's all someone needed to hear. Hi. Oh, you don't feel like appearing on camera? Hi, cutie. You hungry? Maybe. You got plenty of food. Look, you got food. You already ate some of it. You're a nice boy, aren't you? Yes. You're a nice boy. You're a nice boy and everybody likes to see you. Snack break. It's time for something because I am hungry and the oven just died with the apple crisp in there. I had a power failure of some kind and I turned it back on and it seems to be working okay, but I can't even. So I'm going to eat something. So I got little baby carrots and ranch dip. I can sort of eat my weight in veggies if I get to dip them in ranch. I can eat a ton of veggies. So I think it's a healthy-ish snack option considering it's dessert day. I'm going to be having treats later. They are out of the oven and they look great and they smell great. And the rain has let up a little bit, so the TV is working again, the dish, so I can watch Harry Potter. And after these cool, I can have some. And I'm actually going to start baking something else. And I have my big pot on the stove for the next thing that I'm going to make. Next, we're going to make deep dark brownies. This is my go-to brownie recipe. I love this. I don't make any other brownies. And this is from the book Chocolate Bar. This is the best brownie recipe. And the key to it is that you only use 3/4 cup of flour. So less flour is the key to really good brownies. And I've got all my ingredients out. And I'm going to make it here on the stove. So first you melt the butter in the pot and then we add the chocolate, but you're supposed to use 5 ounces of semi-sweet. But I only have, like, you know, actual baker's chocolate, but I only have a little bit, maybe 1 ounce. So I'm going to supplement with some leftover bittersweet chocolate that I have and then some semi-sweet chocolate chips, which I don't really like to do, but that's all I've got. So that's what it is. So you start putting all the chocolate in, and since the butter's hot, it shouldn't take too terribly long to melt. Okay, now that the chocolate and the butter are melted together, we add 3/4 cup of brown sugar. And then 3/4 cup of white sugar. And then you mix them all together. And it gets a little bit grainy. Or a lot grainy, but the heat from the chocolate should start melting everything. So we have put in some vanilla extract and 3 eggs, and it's looking like it's normal consistency, but let me tell you that using chocolate chips instead of regular baking squares will definitely change the consistency and make them like firmer and less liquidy, and then you add the eggs back in and it looks a little more normal and liquidy, because otherwise it was caking up like too fast, but that's because of the chocolate chips. So now we, well, you're supposed to sift together before, but I do it just now when I'm adding it to the pot. The flour and salt and cocoa powder. And that's the nice thing about this recipe is that you just make it in one pot on the stove and you don't need, well, you can, because obviously I don't use a separate bowl for sifting. So I just make sure to stick to one pot and there's no extra bowls and stuff. And now you stir it until it's just mixed together. So you try not to over mix it. Okay, now we're gonna put it in our pan. You bake these at 350. The directions say for 28 to 30 minutes, but I always start somewhere between 20 to 25 because over baking them will totally ruin them. So you have to err on the side of caution and start by under baking them a little bit and then going from there. All done. I stuck a toothpick in the middle and it came out clean enough. So I think obviously I'll leave it in the pan for a little bit longer and it'll, I think bake just slightly longer and then cool, and then we'll be able to finally enjoy it. And I have been good, and I have not even had one little bite of the apple crisp. So once everything's done, I'm having an awesome big dessert. I think the brownies have cooled enough now. So I'm going to use these little Halloween cookie cutters and cut out little shapes from the brownies. So let's try that. I've never done that before, but I'm gonna be brave. So I'm gonna try the little cat first. I hope the brownies aren't too hard or crunchy. Oh no, that works pretty nice. Okay, then I'll have to wiggle that out of there in a second. And I'm also gonna do a cauldron. The right side, yeah. I want to get in the spirit of the Harry Potter weekend that I'm going to be watching. That's on Freeform. And I'm going to do a broomstick. Okay, so now I have to get them out. Okay, the brownies are all plated up. They turned out okay, I think, with the cute shapes. I like them. So they're very festive for Halloween and our Harry Potter weekend. And I'm going to scoop some of the apple crisp for myself. I mean, I could be bad and just eat it right out of here, but I'll scoop some. And at the moment, I'm not going to add any vanilla ice cream with it, but I certainly could, because that always is really good. I'm just going to start with a little. Okay, and now I'm going to go watch my show and enjoy this. So let's go. Okay, I'm all set with my treats. I've got my brownies, I've got my apple crisp, and I've got Harry Potter on the TV, muted of course at the moment. So I'm all ready to celebrate National Dessert Day and eat my dessert. And thanks so much for hanging out with me today. See you later. Bye.